So, you again.
Yep. Oh, hey, finally got a new background. Good for you.
Yeah, that default blackness really got stale. And it was so depressing and achromatic.
So, you picked gray.
Brilliant, isn't it? It is so refreshing and lively. It even has a gradient.
Seriously?
So, what exactly are you doing here?
Well, I heard you were going through all the episodes of Season 1, Rift and all, so I decided to come over when you reach Bridle Gossip.
Don't you hate that one?
Whatever gave you that idea? Oh, sweet Celestia, do I hate this episode. Honestly, she didn't get on my nerves as she did in other episodes. Cough, Bridle Gossip, cough. Spike in Your Service is now the number 3 spot for the worst episode of all time, under Bridle Gossip and Meridowell, respectively. Season 1 has held up surprisingly well. Mostly. Looks like some pony caught on that the old letter system was broken. Case in point, Bridle Gossip. You all know my hatred for Bridle Gossip and how I consider it the worst episode of the entire run?
Just a hunch.
Okay, yes. For those not in the know, I absolutely loathe Bridle Gossip. Not only is it my least favorite episode, I consider it to be the worst episode of the entire series.
Whoa there, Nelly. Don't you think this is a bit harsh? After all, we got atrocities like Spike at Your Service by now.
Please, Spike at Your Service is a godsend compared to Bridle Gossip.
What the buck? Are you kidding me? Spike at Your Service has barely any redeeming aspect, but I bet I could come up with a good thing for every bad thing you have for Bridle Gossip.
Want to put your money where your long mouth is? Then let's tackle this piece of crap together.
Bring it on.
Whoa, deja vu.
Number 5.
Neigh!
Lazy storytelling. Okay, so this episode starts off with Twilight walking into Ponyville with Spike, but no one appears to be around. It turns out they're hiding from a mysterious pony, zebra, named Zakora. Don't tell me, they all mistrust her, something weird's gonna happen, they all blame her, and it turns out just to be a misunderstanding with every pony learning not to judge a book by its cover.
You watched that one quite a couple of times, didn't you?
Well, yeah, and this premise is so predictable, I picked out exactly what was going to happen before the theme song came out. Hell, the plot elements in the episode are also laid out really obviously. Oh gee, I wonder if the blue plant will have anything to do with the story. I will never know. It feels like absolutely no effort was put into this episode. Even in some really bad episodes like Dragon Quest or Spike at Your Service, you can at least feel some semblance of effort was put into the writing. Granted, it was effort we didn't like, but there was at least an attempt to do something worthwhile. Bridle Gossip is all bare bones with minimal tension. When the audience figures out the story before you reach the intro, you may want to go back to the draft board.
Well, maybe it has not been the most original plot, but MLP uses many ideas that seem to be overused, and it often enough turned out rather great. And this episode has actually something special to offer in regards to other stories within the series.
Seriously?
Oh yes. Number 5.
Yay!
Apple Bloom not obsessed with her cutie mark. Until Hearts and Hooves Day, the search for her cutie mark will be her only defining character trait whatsoever. Only in her supportive role in Sisterhood Social we get a break from that. But in Bridle Gossip, her first noteworthy appearance, she was actually an interesting character with personality, arguing with her sister, showing bravery and open-mindedness. But while Apple Bloom degenerates to her obsession with her butt tattoo, Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo actually got expanded over the course of the series.
Well, you know what also degenerated?
Number 4.
Neigh!
The animation. Now, I usually forgive animation errors because of the limitations Flash could actually do. Case in point, Cyclops Pony. But there's one thing I absolutely cannot forgive in this particular episode in regards to the animation. It causes a plot hole. When Twilight wakes up after a run with Zakora the next morning, she preps for the next day. And right there, Twilight uses levitation to use her brush, revealing a limp horn. So, how exactly is that possible? We've seen in other episodes that a unicorn horn is susceptible to harm, and if hurt, could block the ability to use magic. So, how in the buck is Twilight able to use magic with a limp horn? If we take into account the others, we could assume the poison joke kicks in overnight. But that wouldn't make sense for Twilight. Unless it's a trait of the ponies like Twilight's magic or Pinkie Pie's inability to shut up in this episode, the poison joke latches onto. But how does that result in Rainbow Dasher's wings flipping upside down and Applejack becoming hamster size? In all honesty, I would love to suspend my disbelief here in that it's magic, we don't have to explain it because of the fancy element. And I would have done so if not for Twilight using magic with the limp horn. Instead, the poison joke becomes the biggest unexplained plot hole of the series.
Oh, Luna, this horn! How How could this get past the decency control? Unicorn horns are already interpreted as phallic symbols, but this wobbly thing? Number 4.
Yay!
In the end, the animations are only one supportive asset, and as you already said, there are animation errors all the time. But overall, the episode gets balanced out in regards to supportive assets with the score. Just listen to the music during the first scene.
Wow, what a gorgeous day.
Rainbow Dash must have gotten up early for once and cleared all the clouds away.
I bet all of Ponyville is going to be out enjoying the sunshine. What? Where is every pony?
Well, the score may have been nice, but there's one thing in the music department that gets me up in arms every time I hear it.
Number 3.
Neigh!
The Evil Enchantress song. There are 5 songs in MLP that I hate. This is Our Big Night for being too generic, You Gotta Share for hammering in its message, So Many Wonders for being unnecessary and boring, The Old Princess Twilight Sparkle for being so saccharinely pretentious, and Evil Enchantress for being a sin to all musical numbers ever. It's even worse when we take into account who's singing it. Pinkie Pie always sings in a major key. Evil Enchantress is in an F-flat minor, I think. The song is so melodically disjointed I can't tell what key it's in. And I have perfect pitch. This also doesn't help that Andrea Lemon or Shannon Chan Ken is screaming their lines. Oh, yeah, that's a good sign, but you can't differentiate between your VA and singer because they're yelling the lyrics.
Oh, come on. Even you have to acknowledge that. Number 3.
Yay!
The Flutter Guy Jazz remix was amazing. And that one could not have been as great without the Pinkie version first. Not to mention that this is a kind of random song Pinkie is infamous for.
Except one problem.
Number 2.
Neigh!
It disregards continuity. Pinkie Pie always sang in a major key up to this point. Giggle at the Ghostly was D-flat major. Her Grand Galloping Gala song was D-flat major. Twilight Best Pony was also D-flat major. Hop, Skip, and a Jump was C major. Hearing Pinkie Pie sing in a minor key comes completely out of left field. Oh, and speaking of Pinkie Pie, what happened to all that continuity from Griffin the Brush Off about befriending others through kindness? Here, she is so easily influenced to gossip and rumors she actually thinks Sakura is an evil enchantress who does evil dances. Better yet, one episode ago, Applejack and Rarity learned the lessons to work towards their differences and work together in times of need. So why are they taking that lesson to heart with some pony who's the same genus as them?
Well, those breaks in continuity actually serve a higher purpose. Number 2.
Yay!
It was done to give Sakura a strong and meaningful introduction into the series. Admitted, maybe not the best way to go, but it definitively helped setting her up as this mysterious, foreign character. If she would just have walked into the village and the ponies would have been totally cool, like, "Hey Twi, that's Sakura, she looks somehow different," she would never have been able to create this aura. It was necessary to initially alienate the main cast from her. Not to mention what the Zebra's introduction did for the world building. A mysterious faraway land with a completely different culture, its own kind of wisdom and magic? Amazing! Could you imagine a certain epic fanfic if Zebras would just be somehow common and accepted in Equestria as, for example, the Griffins?
That would be interesting, but it still does not excuse
Number 1.
Neigh!
completely unlikable main 6. As I said before, continuity is thrown out the window in order for the story to actually happen. Applejack throws out her merits and level-headedness in the trash and replaces it with fear and being too quick to judge. Rarity actually insults the stripes in Sakura's fur, enforcing the stuck-up bitch stereotype we were afraid would become of her. Rainbow Dash becomes so hot-headed she attacks first, asks questions later. Again, more disregard of continuity from the episode that made me a brony. Fluttershy is just there, and I already explained my problem with Pinkie Pie. But the biggest insult has to come from Twilight Sparkle. The moment she disregarded the book about supernaturals, all of her credibility went away. Put in the fact she also gave in to the gossip, the writers made the main character of the series completely unlikable. In short, she went from best pony to 5th.
My. But when you are already talking about the main 6, what about Number 1? Harity, Spitty Spy, Rainbow Crash, Appletini, Flutterguy, and Twilight Flopple. The idea of a poison joke, a plan that twists Pony's traits in some ironic way is a fantastic idea. And except maybe for Applejack, the jokes are rather clever. The big sister gets turned small. Really? It is also a very interesting concept that got adapted multiple times within the fandom. Discorded Doctor Who, The Lunarverse, Fallout Equestria, and Drop of Moonshine, just to name a few examples. Hey, this sounds actually like a fun idea for an Asks video. Need to write this down. Sorry. Anyways, you see, there was one good thing for every bad thing you listed. So I guess we can close the case and
What
move...
are you talking about? I'm not done yet.
Say what now?
I actually got one more. Actually, it's my biggest one.
But the list top 5, you can't.
Screw the list, I have reasons. The main reason I fucking hate this episode, the underhandedness of the moral. Let's forget for the moment that this moral was more obvious than the poison joke itself, and let's get into how the moral was executed. Now, what did Sakura say again?
Maybe next time you will take a second look and not judge the cover of the book.
It's those first 2 words that really get to me. Next time. That is awful teaching. Imagine if you were in elementary school and you were taking a quiz when you got the main question completely wrong and it resulted in you failing the quiz. You ask your teacher what you did wrong on the question and they briefly explain the answer. They then say, next time you'll get it, and they walk away. A good teacher will help you work through the problem to make sure you get it right next time in preparation for the big test, leading by example. This is why I say that Mystery and the Friendship Express performed the moral better, because Twilight worked with Pinkie Pie to solve the case. In short, show, don't tell. But what gets me the most is the execution of this moral goes against everything that the series was set out to do. At the end of the Friendship is Magic 2-parter, Celestia gave a task to Twilight to report on all of her findings of the lessons of friendship while in Ponyville. When someone has to tell the girls the lesson, they're not learning. Instead, Twilight just copy-pastes what Sakura told them and claims it as her own findings. Yeah, we have a word for that in the academic world. It's called plagiarism. That's right, Twilight Sparkle, Princess Celestia's most faithful pupil, lied to her teacher and got away with it. You know, forget Twilight being a bad scientist and feeling peaky keen, Twilight is a bad student. And finally, by having the moral explained to the characters who were too stupid to figure out what the moral was, it sets the example for all other bad episodes to follow. And the only other times the moral was executed this way, the mysterious Mare-de-Well and Spike at Your Service. So the next time you want to put the blame on Mare-de-Well or Spike at Your Service for existing, look no further than the poorly executed moral of Bridle Gossip that underhanded the entire point of the series to exist. And that is why Bridle Gossip is worst episode. So, you have anything to counter that?
My top 5 ANA list.
Ah, crap, I think I broke ANY. Should have remembered he has OCD tendencies. Well, yeah, Bridle Gossip is definitely the worst episode of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. But it's not the worst thing My Little Pony Friendship is Magic related.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there is something actually worse than the episode I have a personal vendetta against.
I thought we were done with Friendship with Witchcraft for good.
Believe it or not, it's actually worse than that.
Cupcakes?
Actually, I think Cupcakes is better than Witchcraft, so no.
Equestria After Dark?
No. The worst thing My Little Pony Friendship is Magic related is My Little Pony Microseries number 4 featuring Fluttershy. And I'll talk about that next time.
Yeah, but without me, I am still stuck somewhere in the Nightmare Rarity arc. I really need to catch up with the comics.
Very well. I'm the voice of reason.
And this is AnYPony saying, see you soon.